All right. And of course, OBS is still bugging, meaning I'm going to need to open chat this way, which is still annoying. There we go. Live chat. What's going on, Alex? All right, let's do it like this for now. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm late again because OBS isn't working. I go onto Reddit and a bunch of different forums and everyone's like, yeah, OBS has been having this issue for years. They won't resolve it. Awesome. Well, I can't stream off my graphics card, so I have to stream off my computer's encoder, which is ridiculous. Chat still doesn't work in OBS online. They say there's no solution. Just deal with it. I don't understand. OBS is such a big software company. How do they have such buggy? I don't know. Someone needs to come along, and I guess I could start streaming through Streamlabs. Yeah, I could stream to Streamlabs. I don't know if they have issues too, but someone needs to put OBS out of business, in my opinion, with all these issues it has. Yeah, Reddit usually has the fix. For this one, they just said there's no fix, so it's been causing me to be late for all these streams. You have to try to get on stream like 6 times before it works, or you have to use a crappy encoder, which is just what I'm going to start doing, so I don't log in late. All right, well, let's get in here. Well, we got spaghetti models. It's looking like a fish storm to me. That's the consensus right there. Maybe not so much. Maybe more. Maybe it's more like that's the consensus. Big difference, I know. And then it'll probably go out to sea. But we'll see. We'll check some of the updated models. It's definitely getting itself together. Some storms rolling up the coast, East Coast here. North Carolina, Virginia, Maryland into Delaware. Nothing severe. We do have a severe thunderstorm warning down here in, where are we, Mississippi? Yeah. Down here in Mississippi. Inch radar indicated hail. 50 plus potentially mile per hour gusts. Radar indicated nothing too bad. It is moving to the south, maybe 20-30 miles per hour, but not looking too dangerous right now. Kansas City got some storms in and around there, not severe. We do have another severe thunderstorm up here. This is going to be in southwestern North Dakota. They actually took off this warning. Oh no, it's a new one right here. Radar indicated 1.25 inch hail, 60 mile per hour plus gusts possible. Not really towards anything. Headed towards Mott, North Dakota. Not too worried about that one either. Tomorrow we may see this turn into a slight. This area in Nebraska. Our day 3, we have nothing to worry about there. Once again, could the weather get much more boring than this? Probably not. What do I think? Invest 92L. Here's your spaghetti models. It's looking like a fish storm. Let's take a look though. We can go to tropical tidbits and see if there's any disagreement on this. What's going on, Michael? Yeah, we'll go to tropical tidbits and see if there's any disagreement on this.
New information. This severe thunderstorm warning has been updated.
Let's see. Is this our 18Z GFS? It is. All right. North Atlantic. Takes it. Yeah, it turns it into potentially a major hurricane and keeps it out to sea. So, yeah, not too concerning. We're still watching the Gulf for some potential, for a potential spin up there, but oh wow, end of the GFS has a big trough headed into the States. We're gonna have to take a look at this on Weather Bell. Look at that. That'd be severe weather and cold air. I can tell just on this run here. Interesting. All right, let's take a quick look at, well, let me look at what the 12Z did. Probably something similar. Yeah, getting in close to a major hurricane and having it go out. 12Z at the end of the run, there's some sort of tropical activity in the Gulf. Possible, there's very warm waters down there, but too far out to tell if that's going to be accurate or not. 18Z Euro agrees with the GFS. Fish storm, fish storm. Watch out, fishies. Here it comes. Also, GFS and Euro still a little bit of a concern down here in the Gulf. Mezzo Matt, what's poppin'? Jasmine, Lil Zoe. Appreciate you guys. Yeah, Euro and GFS really agree here. Not much to your Bermuda high is way far off to the east. This is going to strengthen. It's going to pull. You can see a little bit of troughing out here. There's going to be a little bit of cool air that settles into the northeast. This is also going to help to push the storm back out to sea. Not much going on. I do want to quickly take a look at some things, though. Ocean analysis. Well, would you look at that? All right. Matt, if you're still in here, do the math with me. When are we going to enter weak La Nina? Let's do some math. We entered weak La Nina territory. We're going to call this July 15th. All right. August 15th. September 15th. I'd say about 30 days. In about 30 days from today. October 15th, maybe, we will have been in weak La Nina water temp territory for at least 3 months. That should be the official. Yeah, you needed about 3 months. We've been in it for about 2 months. I mean, we are in almost strong La Nina territory here. No, this is weak 0.5 to 1. We're about to be in moderate, but this is quite the. I mean, that's a span of 2 months there. It's quite the drop in water temperature. Maybe we do flirt with moderate La Nina at the end of this winter as we get into January, February. But yeah, this is your week. Yeah, about 30 days. We'll be in a weak La Nina. So Jetstream is going to pull up a little bit again. Hey, Aaron, I appreciate the sub. I was big on this one. I will say this. It is one of the reasons I'm talking about late September and early October getting with the Gulf and Western Atlantic temperatures, potentially seeing a lot of tropical activity down there. So that's interesting graphic there. It's definitely speeding up the cooling out there. You can see it right here. We need to talk about something. Matt, have you seen I don't know if you're still in here, but have you seen the comparisons to 2013-2014 season? This is a confirmed La Nina for this winter, but look at our MPO. Yeah, October going to wake up. You would think so with this weather pattern. There's no jet stream on planet Earth that's sitting over these waters for too long once we get into early October. I mean, it's going to lift. Lots of warmth up there. Yeah, big time severe weather coming too. You would think so. Lots of warmth up here. Can we look at our analogs? Watch this. I want climate analogs. Let's look at daily. I want to look at, one second, temperature. Average anomaly. No, let's go to specific. Enter 2013 December 2014 March Let me look at this real quick. All right, here's your analog. No, sorry, wait. Sorry. We want 2013. Start. Yeah, enter range. 2013 to 2014. Hold up here. Enter year of starting month. No, that should be my analog. This is what our 2013-2014 winter looked like. That everyone's comparing it to. SETI, what's popping? Kind of cold, huh? You know, we had a negative 50-degree day in Minneapolis, 2014, January 6th, 2014. Let me pull up a different graph here. Let me do this real quick. We need to talk about this. Where did I put this? Where did I put this? Yeah, we all know what this looks like. Fantastic. That is not what I'm looking for. Give me 1 second, guys. Give me 1 second. Where did I put this? This is gonna bother me. I have to go back to it. No, we don't need that. Oh, actually, we can look at NOAA. We can look at that, but I'll go back to that later. I'm trying to show you one graphic here real quick. I use lots of websites. December, January, February, 24, 25. Okay, that's the old one. We don't need that. I'm looking for... I had something saved for you guys, and... well, apparently I didn't have it saved. So, let me figure out what I did with it. We want... NOAA winter analogs. Anytime I'm off stream and I'm looking for something, I find it right away. Anytime I'm on stream, I can't find it. It drives me crazy. Weatherbell. Actually, Weatherbell would have it, I think. Weatherbell would have it, yeah. Let's do this. Let's do... Well, there's historical SSTs. This isn't exactly what we want, but we can look at a 2013, 2014... Similar NPOs, similar ENSO 3.4, or yeah, ENSO 3.4 region. It would be this. It would be 2013, September 4. It would be this. Yeah, it would be this analog. Now, a lot of climatologists are talking about how this is going to be our most accurate analog to mirror, or our most accurate analog going into this winter. I feel like we have closer analogs, like potentially 2021. Let's look a little bit more. Maybe not MPO wise. These aren't bad though. These aren't bad analogs to look at. 2013 and 2014. NTX, what's going on? No, I did check my history. I bookmark everything, but here. Temp anomalies 2013, 2014. Winter. We all know that was a very cold winter. 2013, 2014 was a very, very cold winter for the States. Someone wrote a whole dissertation about it. Yeah, October 2013 to April 2014. Here's our height anomaly. Probably our 500 millibar height anomaly. This area is very cold. Well below average, 2013 to 2014, fall into winter. Now, a lot of climatologists are saying we're going to have a similar setup to 2013, 2014. I still think 2021 is a closer analog based on what we have right now, but things are changing. Again, if you looked at my winter weather forecast, there's a reason I think Arctic outbreak, historical cold, northern plains and upper Midwest. There's a reason I think potentially above average snow through the Ohio Valley with below average temperatures and then below average temperatures on land and an above average in a close to record warmed Gulf that's going to provide moisture. There's a reason I put dry Pacific Northwest. Here's your analog 2013, 2014. So there's reasonings for this stuff. This is still a little bit of a question mark. We're not going to have this exact setup through these months, but this is kind of the analog that it's being compared to. That was a big snowstorm in 2013. December 7th. All right. Yeah, it was a snowy year and it was a cold year. Snowy and cold year 2013 to 2014. So if you like winter, you're glad that climatologists are comparing this upcoming winter to it, or you're glad that this is the analog that they're using. This is interesting as well. Give me 1 second here. 1 second, guys. February 15th. So we had a couple of big breaks. We had a couple of major breaks in our polar vortex that year as well. Here's March 7th, 2014. Major break in our stratospheric polar vortex right there. Major disruption here. This is stretching. Major disruption here. That's March of 2014. Look at all this heat that was sitting up over the Arctic. Look at all this heat that was sitting up over the Arctic. There was major disruption to the stratospheric polar vortex to our north in 2013 and 2014 based on these images. I was alive then. I didn't even understand what the stratospheric polar vortex was. Well, no, I kind of did. I was learning about it in college. I didn't understand the significance of it though. But wow, if this is what they're comparing it to, hold up, chat. If this is what they're comparing it to, it could be a very cold winter. If this is what they're comparing it to, I've already heard a lot of people talking about how the MPO could really disrupt our Arctic stratospheric polar vortex. And remember, if that thing gets disrupted, that air that's supposed to be 30,000 feet up in the stratosphere is going to, if that begins to stretch, elongate, break, or slow, if you have a high pressure building up and that vortex begins to slow, you get big pools of cold air, Arctic air down into the States. This is what happened in 2013, 2014 based on our ENSO and oscillations. ENSOs and teleconnections. NPO's North Pacific Oscillation. It has to do with pressure anomalies and water temperatures up to in the Northern Pacific. Let me get your playlist. I wonder if you could look it up. It's on Epidemic Sound. I just put it together on this because I pay a subscription on here so that I can stream my music. What's this song called? Yeah, Epidemic Sound's awesome because you can stream the music. You pay it's a small fee a month. Never Let It Go by Hasten, Heyson. But yeah, I mean, very interesting. 2013, 2014 was we saw lots of record cold temperatures. We saw some big snowfalls. It was a very wintry winter for the lower 48, to say the least. I believe for Minnesota, it was fifth coldest winter on record in like 100 since they started recording in like 1880. Saw the coldest temperature I think ever recorded in Minneapolis. I want to say like negative 50, negative 52 degrees or something like that. January 6, 2014. I know Minneapolis saw 80 inches of snow that year, but I'm just saying Minneapolis because I know the statistics on Minneapolis that year. But the upper Midwest and Northern Plains were crazy. The Great Lake region saw a decent amount. Ohio Valley saw a decent amount as well, I believe. But for most people, it was cool except for the West, far West and Northwest. So yeah, really quickly, Gulf. Still well above average temperatures out here.
New information. This severe thunderstorm warning has been updated.
Nice temperatures for hurricane formation, you know. Like I said, we are dropping in. In about 30 days, we'll probably be in that weak La Nina. La Nina's, once you enter that La Nina territory, your hurricane season really activates. So hopefully this cooling trend slows a little bit along the equatorial Pacific, but if it doesn't, again, we could see definitely an active October. You would think an active October tropic wise, but it's been a weird year. Nothing's really happened that a lot of people expect it to happen. So again, climatology is weird. You never really know. But you know, you can go based off analogs and stuff like that. Brandon, what's going on? If you're over on YT, OBS is bugging again, so I have to look over at my phone at chat. So annoying. Hopefully they have it fixed sooner than later. Appreciate everyone that's in here. Yeah, next cool down October for sure. Early. Yeah, that winter was freezing. Even though I was pregnant, it was still so cold. Yeah, we saw that winter cold over in Europe as well because when your stratospheric polar vortex over the Arctic starts really stretching, it affects a lot of people in the northern hemisphere, not just the States typically. NTX, I appreciate you. Severe weather-wise, let's take a look at what our Rufus is doing. We got a 00Z loading. Let's go back to our 18Z. Do we see any severe weather picking up here anytime soon? Yeah, definitely. Rufus is being pretty bullish across central Nebraska tomorrow. We've got to watch that. Central Nebraska, especially big hail tomorrow. Could get a spin up. Probably hail and wind driven though. Looks like western Oklahoma, northern panhandle of Texas as we get into Wednesday night and into Thursday. Yeah, that severe weather maybe here tomorrow and then transferring down to the south. Let's take a look actually at CSU severe. Hey, what it does this? 1 second, guys. Oh, nothing's loaded. All right, awesome. All right, day 2. Yep, there's tomorrow. Let's look at our day 3. Transfers a little bit to the south. You see Oklahoma to Kansas getting involved there. Looking at our 3 to 8 day, not much, but you do get a little weather, potential severe weather down there in the Mississippi Valley. Nothing crazy. Again, here's our spaghetti models for our storm that is now at a 90% chance for tropical, for cyclone formation. You know, moving out into the open ocean. Again, not looking too threatening here for anyone. Not even Bermuda, I don't think. Well, potentially, we'll see. When will Georgia cool down? Oh yeah, okay. Let's get into this. Let's look at the latest weather bell models. When's this cool weather moving in? True. Euro. All right, let's just go straight into anomalies. 12Z. All right. Okay. Got a little bit of cool air beginning to move out east over the next few days. This is as we get into Thursday this week. Now this is because we have like a bowling ball trough that's a little bit of a low pressure here. That's going to be moving out to the east, bringing with it some moisture and severe weather potential. This isn't a big cool down. This is just maybe you get close to averages. Behind that, we see another big burst of warm air on the Euro, suffocating us until potentially all the way out until September 28th, 29th. This has not changed. This would be a major severe weather outbreak potentially in fall if we were to see something like this happen. But this is near the end of the run here. This is when the GFS and Euro do think nice fall-like weather returns. End of September, early October continues to show that. Taking a look at the 18Z GFS, maybe earlier. Again, big troughing moving down here as we get into September 26th. This would be early season snow potentially up here to the north, with nice cool weather returning throughout the Midwest, Ohio Valley, potentially getting down into the Southeast and Mid-Atlantic. Then you have another front behind it. This is where the Euro and GFS actually agree very far out. Potential fall severe weather setup happening here. Snow out west, early season with those type of temperatures. Yeah, I mean, you've got your models really agreeing on this big push of cold air returning last few days of September, early October. If this were to play out like this, we'd have a few days of very bad severe weather. I'm talking we can get some, not just like marginals and slight, but some enhanced or above moderates and stuff like that. Far out, but let's take a look at our, let's see if we have any sort of model consensus on the Canadian. Canadian agrees in the short term, some troughing moving through. You got some kind of surface lows moving through here. Over the next week or so, bringing short cool downs. Now on the Canadian, we need to zoom out and see what's behind here. Does it agree with the Euro and the GFS? Let's go. Here's the best way we can look at it. Heights, 500 millibar. Looks like it does. Here's this big trough that the GFS and Euro see. Last few days of September, early October. Listen, I think the last 2 weeks of September and the first 2 weeks of October are going to tell two very different stories. For sure. There's that energy on the Canadian. This is far out, but models do better at these types of things, these types of setups than local precipitation and stuff like that. There's our Euro, same type of setup here. Going back into our GFS, do they all agree on this energy moving in beginning of October? Yes, they do. End of September, beginning of October. So that's interesting. We'll keep paying attention to that. I'll look at the teleconnections in a second to see what the teleconnections think of that. But it is interesting that we're talking that they all see this about 240 hours out. All three of those models. Let's look really quickly teleconnections wise. Arctic oscillation, Euro deterministic, stays negative there. EPO positive, NAO negative, PNA negative. Not telling me much. We can look at our Euro. Now this would be wild. Actually here, we're looking at our weeklies. So maybe a return to cool weather right here. First 3 weeks of October out east. Potentially. The weeklies haven't been as accurate as they are sometimes. So I'm taking these with a grain of salt. Not to mention our teleconnections have a lot more influence on our weather as we get into late fall and winter. And that is because the northern hemisphere has the temperature and the weather is much more variable in wintertime. You have a jet stream that is a lot more susceptible to major changes, as you have an Arctic that is, the Arctic's, you've got Antarctica and Arctic, but the Arctic up to the north is the coldest spot on the planet. And as the stratospheric polar vortex up in the Arctic and as the tropospheric polar vortex begins to drop in temperature, it can really, really do a lot of things to our jet stream. And we can see, like I said, a lot more variable weather as we get into winter. And that's what allows that's what makes our teleconnections much more reliable. And that's what allows them to tell a lot better of a story. Summertime, when your weather,
a new special marine warning has been issued.
There's a reason that severe weather season is in spring and fall and not summer. It is beginning of summer, but your jet stream kind of the weather gets a little bit boring when the northern hemisphere is in summer. As we get farther into fall and into winter, these teleconnections are going to be extremely important, especially the Arctic Oscillation, the North Atlantic Oscillation, and the Pacific North American Oscillation. Especially those three. I don't really care about the EPO and WPO right now, but they will become important at a point. Oh my gosh. Can I talk today? No, I'm exhausted. Went to bed at 12:30 last night, woke up at 5:30. Work all day, get home, kids, straight into stream. Same thing tomorrow. That's why I'm glad I'm taking Wednesdays and Saturdays off. Those gonna be my recovery days. It's like people have like workout recovery days. Well, I don't have time to go to the gym, so I just have stream recovery days. Do I like Weatherwise models? I like that they have models now. Their models aren't that good though, unfortunately. I still like their radar the best. Although, as I said, Radar Omegas, I like Radar Omegas update. I might mess with it a little bit more. Is there rain for Ohio? Really quickly. Just got pulled over while listening to the stream. Oh my gosh, JPH. No, that's terrible. Oh my gosh, that's terrible. Well, thanks for listening to the stream. Thanks for tuning in. Sorry. Here's what's going on rainfall wise. If this will load. Weatherwise is. Here we go. Here's our 5-day. Here's our 5-day precipitation forecast. High North Carolina and Virginia. Look at this out here near the coast. Tons. You could see locally 9-10 inches out there. Anywhere from Raleigh up to potentially all the way up to Salisbury, Maryland. Down here towards what do we have down here? New Bern, Beaufort. Beaufort might be a little bit far south. And then Nebraska, South Dakota, eastern Wyoming. Lots of rainfall for you guys too over the next 5 days. Let's look at our 3-day forecast here. Here's our 3-day forecast. Again, 72-hour rainfall forecast. Oh, sorry guys. It's not showing you. There you go. That's the next 72 hours. Iowa, South Dakota, Wyoming, Kansas, Minnesota. Definitely the big winner here, though, is out here, Virginia, Southern Maryland, Eastern, Northeastern, North Carolina. Yeah, not much rain in Ohio. We were talking about this in our streams a few days ago. Remember this whole region here? Even when you see the greens, that's just like 1/10 of an inch. This whole region here staying dry. We're going to see a little bit of a drought return before winter. What are our drought conditions looking like right now? Yeah, drought is. We had no drought here. We had gotten rid of our drought, and we might not see rainfall or significant rainfall through this area for another week. So drought conditions are going to get pretty bad. Ohio Valley, Mississippi Valley, portions of the Great Lake region, Northeast or New England. I think the West is going to receive a lot of rainfall over the next 2 weeks, as we see some pieces of energy moving in off the Pacific. So that will help their drought conditions. Morgan, Matt, I appreciate you guys. B, what's going on? KJ. Night, Kim. I appreciate you being in here. Did I cover Sunday? What, this upcoming Sunday? Here, let me get off of this. Let's go back to composite. Let's turn off outlooks. There we go. You want to know what's happening this upcoming Sunday? Oh, did you live stream yesterday? I did for a short period of time. I was supposed to put out a long YouTube video, but it was a long weekend. I had my friend in town. My brother moved up here. He's living with me before he starts his new job and gets his own place. So I didn't end up getting my 10-minute video done. But I'll probably do that maybe tomorrow, and then I have a training video recorded already, so I just have to edit it, and that'll be my first training video for anyone in my Discord. If you want to join the Discord, it's free right now. Connor's Climate Corner HQ. Connor's Climate Corner, just my name. Connor's Climate Corner HQ. Just add me on Discord. I'll add you in. You become a member of the Climate Crew, and all my updates are in there every single day. Weather stories of the day, and I will be uploading training videos over the next few weeks. I have one completely done and recorded. I need to edit it. I need to post it. Just quick 1 to 2 minute videos on how to read all sorts of different things, so that you can look at all these maps and understand what the heck is going on. Much easier. What do I use for temperature prediction? I mean, it depends. I mean, for like long range, European, you know what I mean? But for short range, the NAM does a pretty good job typically. I don't love the NAM precipitation wise, but I do like the NAM. Well, it depends what time of year. Once we get within a week, NAM 12K, you know, get within a few days, NAM 3K. Thanks, Morgan. Weather Bell's great. Weather Bell's great as you get into fall and winter. It is. Let me look at something here. I don't think what's going on in our stratosphere matters too much right now, but we can take a look at it. Let me take a little bit of a look at it. Let's go to our anomaly. What you would want to see is a lot of warming up here to the north to disrupt it. Although we're not deep enough, this really doesn't start happening until winter time. So it's not really too significant right now. Yeah, what's going on there isn't going to be too significant right now. Let's look at our upper air heights. Let's go into 12Z Euro. Now, this is interesting what's happening at the end of this run, and this is what the GFS, Canadian and Euro sees. Kind of a negative NAO blocking out to the east here, with pieces of energy moving in down towards the States. This is what made not just bring in cold air, but trap cold air in the beginning of October. So definitely something to watch. Taking a look at our longer range models. Take a look at monthly. October, you can see here. It is expected to be a little bit cooler out east. Greenland blocking here. Greenland blocking. And a little bit warmer out west. So that's our monthly 500 millibar height 30-day anomaly. Taking a look at temperature anomaly. Again, October. This is our CFS model, but again, cooler air expected out east with some definitely some significant warming happening up over the Arctic, which could set up a cold November as well. A little bit of blocking over Greenland here as well, and then potentially down to the south. If we get southern blocking with that Greenland blocking, it's going to be a cold October. But this is a little early. The CFS is being very aggressive with cold all the way through December, with cold anomalies through this region here. I don't know if you guys can see that, but that's the plains, Ohio Valley, New England, and Midwest, Northern Plains, Upper Midwest. Let me take a look at our Canadian. Our Canadian tends to agree. October, cooler conditions out east, warmer conditions out west. Canadian agrees with CFS model, agrees with CFS November, agrees with CFS December. So you've got these kind of global outlook models agreeing on a cool start to end fall and enter winter. Out east doesn't mean it's going to happen, but I can see why. You've got tons of warming happening up over the Arctic. I mean, we could see it happen. I'd say I'm not super confident because outlooks are outlooks, but I'd say I'm 70-30 on that cooler October, November. Maybe 60-40. Because September, you know, it was harder to tell September because again, our teleconnections aren't as strong and our outlooks aren't as good in late summer, early fall. But That's what our outlooks are telling us right now. Is below average conditions, temperatures out east through fall. We'll see if it comes true or not, but I'm going to keep looking at these updates. We will see. Is there a way you can calm my anxiety for St. Louis for this week or for the future? I don't think we really have anything you need to worry about in St. Louis in the immediate future. Let's look at our categorical outlooks. Day 1, not even general thunderstorms. Day 2, day 3. Yeah, there's really nothing. There's no severe weather, concerning severe weather over the next week in St. Louis. At least it's not being it's not being projected any of the days. Day 3, day 2, day 1. Day 4, day 5. Not looking too bad. You're not expected to receive much rainfall either. I think you are. It says member level. I think you are, Jasmine. It's not telling me on my stream. Brian, Morgan, Matt, I appreciate you guys. What do I think significant severe weather will return? Well, we were just talking about these crazy... Well, it's pretty strong, surprisingly, because it's far out, but there's this strong agreement by the Canadian, Euro, and GFS of... I'll show you here. First of all, this right here, we've got a lot of agreement on the models of this right here. I usually wouldn't entertain it that much, being 300 hours out. I usually wouldn't entertain it at all, unless you've got all your globals agreeing on it. Then we'll probably get troughing. Will it enter here? We don't know. Will it enter here? We don't know. How amplified will it be? We don't know. But we'll get some sort of attempt at a big cold blast out here. Typically, when you see everything agreeing, again, we're seeing some warming up over the Arctic. I've told you guys, as cold air builds up to the north, eventually it's going to collapse down to the south. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. This would potentially be a big, severe weather outbreak right here. It's not going to play out exactly like this, but this would be a significant kickoff to fall severe weather season. And you've got kind of agreement here. Let's go to the GFS same time frame. You notice they treat it differently, but you've got this. You've got this gradient. And then as we get into our Canadian doesn't go far enough. But I showed you on the heights, this is that same trough. It just, our model doesn't show far enough out on here. Let's look at, how far can we go out here? Not far enough. Let's go to, what we could also do, these are our ensembles as well. Our Euro ensembles are only gonna go out to the 21st, but again, there's some agreement on that. So we'll have to see. I don't see any significant severe weather before then, if I'm being honest, before like the 28th, 29th, 30th of September. So does that concern you or not really? I'm not concerned about it because it's so far out right now, but if it ends up playing out something like this, it would be concerning. We just don't know yet. Previous subs are a super fan club member for 3 months with previous price. Oh. Wait. They changed that on TikTok? They're making it cost $10 monthly? What the heck? Shows you how much I'm paying attention. Yali, I appreciate you. That's crazy. Sup, Manders? Manders, what are we doing this weekend? We gotta figure it out. Putting my order in for mid-70s by the end of the month. Baton Rouge. End of the month, that you could see a big cool down as far south as Baton Rouge. All right, I'll figure it out. Do you think this will affect St. Louis? It would. If it played out exactly like you're seeing on screen, it would. But this is too far. It's not going to play out exactly like this. It's too early to tell. So there's no reason to worry at this point. Not when we're looking at something 300 hours out. The models agree on this big cold blast here for the states at the end of September, early October. Our, the analogs we're looking at and our just climatologically, it would make sense as well with this big, with our heights getting much higher up there to the north. We're getting a lot of as we get that warm air building up in the upper atmosphere to our north over Canada. Eventually, this cold air is going to drop. So it makes sense, but when and where is the question? It's going to happen. You can see down here. These are temperatures. So, this represents 0 degrees. This is, I think this is right above our head though, not at the surface. This red represents closer to 10 degrees. This blues represent closer to 15 degrees. But that's not down at the surface. I'll show you what's happening down at the surface. We can get closer down here. You can really see what's happening here on the 925 millibar temperature. This is pretty close to the surface. You see this right here. This would be quite the squall line here. This would be quite a severe weather setup. You see the difference between our temperatures here. Very cold, very hot. As that moves through, that'd be interesting. What's happening down at the surface there, temperature-wise, if we were to see this? Well, let's take a look. Again, this is very far out. But yeah, you can see. So bring 50s and 60s down to the Gulf. So this would be like, people would be like, okay, fall's actually here this time. I mean, that cold blast we had earlier in September, like we had been talking about, was pretty good. Pretty good. I thought it may stick around for 3 weeks. That's what we were looking at. It was more like 10 to 12 days. Discord, let me open it on here. I usually look at Discord on my phone, but I can't because that's the only way I can see my other chat because OBS is bugging. Oh, did you send a friend request? All right, I'll add you, Kyle. Give me a second. I'll add you to the Discord. Accept, invite to server, Connor's Climate Corner. Okay, and then I'll make you part of the climate crew. Yep. If you guys do, like I said, join the Discord now. It's free. Once we reach 100 members, it'll be paid. But if you're in while it's free, you never have to pay for it. Yeah, that was the right one. Yeah, here, you can accept it now. I'll show you. I'll make you so you can see everything on the Discord. Looks like Tammy got to make climate crew. Climate crew. Okay, there we go. So now people can start to see this. And then let's see. Members since 1 minute ago. Nice. And then one new member. There's Kyle, Climate Crew. Okay, now you can look through the Discord. Cool. Yeah, 500 members. Why no hurricanes this year? There's no really explanation sometimes. People argue there's a lot of Saharan dust. There was no more than... There was some, but it wasn't like an... Jasmine, I appreciate you. It wasn't like it wasn't a crazy amount. Our waters were warm enough. We had a little bit more shear than expected through here. Now, that's one of the main reasons, I think. But as I said, within the next 30 days, we'll be in that weak La Nina, very likely. Next 30 days will officially be La Nina, weak La Nina. Our jet stream is going to begin pulling to the north here as we get into winter and as we get later into fall. So there's going to be an opportunity here with close to record warm Caribbean, especially Gulf, but and Caribbean and Western Atlantic. There's going to be a window here in early October, through the month of October, but I believe it begins late September, early October, for a bunch of storms. Not a bunch, but a few storms to form very close to home. So I'm concerned with what's going on out here. Our Bermuda high is very far off to the east, so anything developing through the MDR main development region or tropical Atlantic is likely going to get pulled up to the north. Just be a fish storm right now until that Bermuda high shifts back west. And then especially as we get farther into fall, and you start getting these troughing systems that dig down further, that they're going to help steer those out to sea as well. So we need to watch this region right here moving forward. Warm temperatures. Our jet stream should pull to the north, allowing less disruption of cyclone formation here. So definitely been slow. There's not many reasons. Sometimes you get lucky. You don't get as much, we had a 90% chance for a cyclone to form a week ago, and it fell apart. Never see that. You never see that. Usually once you get up to 60%, you don't see them fall apart. So that's just how it happens sometimes. We've been pretty lucky this hurricane season, but I do think October is going to get a little sketchy. We'll see. Hopefully not. But the conditions the atmosphere looks to be set up in a way that would promote more cyclone formation then. So colder ocean waters. Yeah, these waters out here in the Pacific are getting much colder, and what that does is that lets our jet stream a lot of times, our tropical jet will kind of it'll weaken. That allows less wind shear through the Gulf and Caribbean, which allows for more opportunity for cyclones to form in here, especially when you have above average water temperatures, which of course we do. You sent a request on Discord? All right, let me add you. Again, Connor's Climate Corner HQ. If you add me now, it's free to get in the Discord. There you are. All right. And I added you. Now I think you have to. Oh, no. Here. I got to go back here. I got to. Wait, where? Hold up. I got to invite you to the server. There we go. No problem, Christian. But yeah, quite the it could feel like two different seasons. Big difference to end off September and enter October right now. Everything's still pointing towards it. If it starts not pointing towards it, I'll be the first to tell you, but I'd be surprised with how much heat looks like we're gonna have building up over the Arctic and Canada over the next couple weeks. That looks to be accurate, and if that's accurate, that's gonna push some cold air down into the lower 48. There's a chance that it actually pushes into the west and not the east. Our analogs and our outlooks don't seem to suggest that. They do seem to suggest it's coming east, that cold air. So plains and east. Where do I search to find it? On Discord. If you have a Discord, you can add Connor's Climate Corner HQ. And then here, now that you're in the Discord, Christian, I can go into members and I can change you as part of the climate crew so you can see everything going on. In my Discord every single day, well, for the most part, I make an announcement on stories of the day. Down at the bottom, you'll see severe weather risk zone, tornado risk zone, high wind risk zone, hail risk zone, extended severe forecast, hurricane updates, rainfall updates, temperature updates, wildfire updates, earthquake updates, drought monitor, volcano updates, ENSO updates, winter storm updates, storm reports, snowfall updates, CSU discussion, weather links, all that type of stuff, which actually I need to update my weather links. I have a lot more. But all that type of stuff is I update every single morning when I wake up. It's usually between 6, 8 a.m. We got SBC updates, NHC, WPC, WNP, that's space weather updates, mesoscale discussions, NWS key messages. And then my Discord is attached directly to the NWS. We have an NWS bot in there. So anytime there's a tornado warning, severe thunderstorm warning, flood warning, PDS alert, emergency alert, anything like that, you're immediately notified in the Discord. Anytime. You can follow whatever channel of Discord you want. If you live in the plains, tornado warning isn't a bad one to follow. When there's a warning, if you hit summary, I believe it's summary. Let me make sure. Or is it text? No, summary. It'll give you a summary of what that tornado warning's about, and then you can actually there's an AI bot with it, so you can say, hey, am I in danger from this tornado warning? I live here, and the AI will be like, yeah, you are, or no, you're not. It's actually kind of a cool feature in there. There's a lot of cool features. And then we got if you want to become a mod, you can talk to me in there. You can reach out to me off stream. We got a bunch of people, general chat, weather talk. Got to get everyone re-engaging in the Discord. You too, Christian. Yeah, summary. That's right. Thanks, Pete. And And believe me, this Discord's about to get... Oh, yeehaw, Random Cowboy. I know I missed it, Yali, but I still appreciate you. Discord right now is... I'll be talking a lot more in it as we get into winter, and I mean I'm making announcements every single day and updating every day, but we've been in quite a slow stretch of weather here, so. So I live in Missouri. What's the weather looking like next month? Well, like I said, our outlooks right now would suggest below average temperature-wise October for Missouri. So it's hard to tell precipitation forecast that far out. We do expect some good troughing for at least 3 weeks during October through portions of the Midwest. So and out east. So right now the best guess would be cooler than average temperatures. Although the next, to end off September, next couple of weeks, it's still going to be a decent amount of heat lingering around in Missouri. I'm taking an atmospheric science class. Any advice? Yeah. Any advice? I don't know if I have advice other than I had no idea how much I loved climatology until I took a class like that. Pay attention. It's the coolest aspect of meteorology to me is, listen, meteorology is the study of our atmosphere. The coolest part about meteorology to me is climatology, and I think it's because I did pay attention to those classes, and you start to realize how absolutely insane our atmosphere is, and the potential moving forward. I think in the next 5 years, our outlooks, our 3 to 4 week outlooks are going to get crazy accurate. We're going to be able to see what we can only see 4 days out right now. We'll be able to see like a month out, I think, moving through the next maybe 5 to 10 years. So I think climatology is going to become an extremely important profession. I think atmospheric sciences is going to be very important. The long range models are going to become more important than the short range almost. Let's see here. Okay, there we go. Not much going on tonight. I'm gonna get a good sleep. Good-ish sleep. Still have to wake up in 6 hours. 7 hours. I appreciate everyone being in here. That'll be sick being accurate that far out. It will be. It will be. It's gonna happen. The disturbance doesn't appear it's gonna hit anything. Not right now. It doesn't. Oh, wait, hold up here. 1 second. Oh my gosh. The babies. That's really cute. I forgot to respond to you before, Amanda. Yeah, that's really cute. Lots of puppies. Yeah. Really quickly, yeah. If you added me on Discord, I will. I got a message. It was invalid. Yeah, I'll send you another one. Yeah, if you added me on Discord right now, I'm adding you. Counter Climate Corner HQ, I'm adding you to the server. Oh, that's cute, Manders. All right, I'm gonna try to get a good sleep. I'll be back on tomorrow and back streaming tomorrow. We'll see if this outlook continues to look like what it's looking at, and they continue to point to 2013, 2014 analog for this winter. It's going to be quite the severe season, and I'd expect a very, very chilly winter for us. For many, especially weak La Nina conditions. All right, everyone, have a great night. Again, if you want to add me, I'll look at my Discord for a little bit after I get off. Connor's Climate Corner HQ, I'll add you to the Discord for free. It's an awesome Discord, and all my awesome mods are in there as well. Alrighty.